Crystal clear number 1. Astros becoming the second team to reach 90 wins. Braves still number 3. They battled back from a 10.5 game deficit to take the NL East on Friday, but ended up losing 2 straight. So now 1.5 back ahead of the Mets, or 1.5 back of the Mets, but still ahead of them in the power rankings. Cardinals coming in at number 5. So let's welcome in the man behind the power rankings, our good friend Matt Snyder, here to go through them. So Dodgers clear number 1, Astros number 2. You got the Braves, Mets, and Cardinals at 3, 4, and 5. Walk us through those.
Yeah, it was difficult to do that. So I don't know how easily I'm going to be able to walk you through it, because really, if you ordered them any which way, I wouldn't really have an argument. It's just the Mets have the best record for the full season. The Braves have the best record since June 1st. Since then, they've played at 110-plus win pace. The Cardinals have the best record in the second half. They're all varying degrees of hot. The Braves just come off that series loss to the Mariners. Kenley Jansen, I think there are definitely valid concerns there, but they have a 1-2 punch at the top of the rotation in Max Fried and Spencer Strider. They just showed how relentless they were in Sunday to come back from 4 down in the ninth to take that lead, even though they ended up losing the game again. It just shows how tough they are to beat. The Mets, they lost 4 of 6, but then they won these last 2, and so they're actually coming off a decent week of 4 and 2 week. The Cardinals, they split a series with the Nationals at home, so I guess that's probably what got them docked back down to 5. But really, they're bunched. Those 3 are bunched so closely together. Like I said, I really wouldn't have a strong disagreement with anybody if they wanted to order them just in the opposite way. If they wanted to say, oh, Cardinals 3, Mets 4, Braves 5, okay, I probably wouldn't argue that much with that. It's the thing that I think is the biggest takeaway for me when I look at the National League is there are 4 powerhouse teams. The Dodgers are head and shoulders above everybody else, but the Braves, Mets, and Cardinals are elite level teams. We could have a really incredible NLDS, that is, if somebody like the Phillies or Padres doesn't break it up in the wild card round.
Let's hop over to the American. Let's talk about the Yankees here. We were looking at a spectacular slide when it came to the Yankees. However, they won back-to-back series for the first time since the end of June, including 2 of 3 against the Rays in this very past series here. They are now 5.5 games up in that division and up to 6 in your power rankings. I mean, they were bad for so long. Was this just kind of inevitable they were going to go back up?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think if they continued on that path, I was probably going to continue to drop them down. Now, part of it was my feelings were hurt by Will last week when he was mean to me and said the Yankees were too high at number 8. So I was thinking of dropping them a lot lower. I was scared he was going to come back after me again. No, seriously. But if they continued on that path, it was reasonable to say I could have dropped them down into the teens for sure. And he had great arguments on why they should have been lower. As I explained last week, it was hard to figure out where to put them because they were one of the best teams of all time in the first half, and then were one of the worst teams in baseball in the second half. So how do you figure out where to put them at that intersection? Now, it's a little bit easier when they start to play well, and I think maybe all they needed for that mojo, for some reason, they've had a hold over the Twins. It doesn't even matter who the players are. The Yankees have owned the Twins for like 2 decades. They just needed to see the Twins show up at Yankee Stadium, kind of got their mojo back, scoring double digits 2 days in a row against the Rays. Now the division's comfortable again at a 5.5 game lead. They don't even have to play the Rays again the rest of the year. They have won 3-game series against the Blue Jays. Other than that, it should be smooth sailing. So I think they're probably going to comfortably stay here in the top 6 the rest of the year. We'll see how good they are getting to the playoffs, though, because right now I still think that they could be ripe to be taken out in the ALDS.
All right. Maybe I saw that rant from Will. I think that was like a therapy session for him. He felt a lot better after that.
It was good.
Let's talk about the Mariners, Blue Jays, Rays, all bunched in your top 10, 7, 8, 9. Wild card race in the American League. We're looking at all these teams right here. What do we need to keep an eye on with these 3 over the next 3 weeks?
Well, it's going to be very interesting. The Rays and Blue Jays play each other a lot, so there's going to be a lot of head-to-head there. The Mariners have a very easy schedule for the most part the rest of the way, one of the easiest in baseball. So maybe they could cruise up into that 4 spot, get a host of playoff series, which would be really cool, by the way. If you saw the home run from Julio Jones to tie the game, Julio Rodriguez to tie the game. Wow, I watched football last night and said Julio Jones. Julio Rodriguez to tie the game for the Mariners off Kenley Jansen. Then Eugenio Suarez hit the walk-off home run. The atmosphere was crazy in Seattle. They were really rallying behind this Mariners team. If they have a home playoff series, it'll be really fun to watch. They have the longest playoff drought in baseball. Another thing to watch here is it wouldn't be so bad to get the 6th seed. because whoever is the 6th seed gets to play the Guardians. That's going to be the worst playoff team by far, or the White Sox if they overtake the Guardians. Again, the AL Central winner is going to be the worst playoff team. The 6th seed would get to play a 3-game series in either Cleveland or Chicago or maybe Minnesota, but I'm counting the Twins out at this point. And then in the second round, would get to face the Yankees instead of the Astros because that's just how the seeding works out. They don't reseed after the first round. So it would be much more beneficial to get the 6th seed than maybe the 4, definitely better than the 5. So it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out. And while the teams won't really tank to get into the 6th spot, it would be funny to see how they tweaked kind of how their starting pitchers lined up down the stretch. Because, again, if you're the Blue Jays and the Rays and you're tied for the 5th spot with 2 games left, you probably would rather slide into that 6th than be the 5 and have to go to Seattle.
All right, very interesting. Let's talk about the Orioles here, your biggest loser this week, dropping 5 spots down to number 15 here. They have now lost 6 of the past 8. And as they crash in your power rankings, maybe so do their hopes of making it into the postseason here. Tell us about the Orioles.
Yeah, I think they probably had been playing way over their heads for the entirety of the second half, maybe since around late June when they really started to get hot there. And it was really cool to see. But the reality was they were never really going to make the wild card. So to see them kind of get beaten down by the Blue Jays while it was harsh, maybe set them back distance enough that the fans aren't going to have their hopes up for the rest of this year. But the thing about this season as a whole is, between seeing Adley Rutschman come up, between seeing how well they've developed their pitchers internally, some cast-offs, some guys they developed within the organization, and to see Gunnar Henderson come up very recently as well, to see them hang in contention in the very tough AL East. It's been really good, I think, to see the direction of the organization and see that they're turning a corner. And now they can head into the offseason with a lot of money to spend and to get the fans really excited for 2023. They kind of, got their feet wet a little bit in contention. Now they fell out. They kind of realized, maybe, hey, we weren't really ready to contend yet anyway. But they laid the foundation for excitement for 2023. And that's what this season was all about anyway. It's just they hung around in contention. And like I said, maybe a little bit of a tease job, but now they're kind of back down where they belong. And now they can just get excited for 2023.
Matt Snyder, we appreciate it. As I mentioned, 23 days left of the regular season. It's going to be a fun couple of weeks there. If you want to see his full list, by the way, of the power rankings, just go to cbssports.com. Taking a look at the bottom of Matt's power rankings, 21 through 30. And Chris, drum roll, we have a new worst team.
A's.
The A's,
Get an
yes. 51-90 is their record now, dropping 3 spots to number 30. Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.